I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1 panel. The fundamental duty of the state is not merely to preserve a heartbeat, it is to preserve a life worth living. The oppositions to worlds today is one of surrender. They look at natural hazard and decide that the only solution is to sever citizens from their ancestral lands, their livelihoods, and their identities. We, under propositions, absolutely refuse to abandon our communities. We believe in human ingenuity, state responsibility, and the right to home. Hello, everyone. I am the first speaker of the proposition team. My name is Milano Sebastian, and we are incredibly proud to propose that in areas prone to disasters, this House believes that the state should prioritize disaster mitigation over relocation. Let us define first the parameters of today's debate. Disaster mitigation refers to structural and systematic state investments such as seawalls, seismic retrofitting, flood drainage systems, and early warning technology designed to neutralize the threat of natural hazards. Relocation is the state policy of permanently moving populations away from high-risk zones by prioritize we mean that the state's primary funding, legislative focus, and the vault policy must be resilience and adaptation, not retreat. We concede that in absolute extremes where land is entirely submerged, relocation is a last resort, but it must never be the starting point. At first speaker, I will. As first speaker, I will. As first speaker, I will prove two things. First, the catastrophic socio-economic and cultural destruction caused by mass displacement. Second, the overwhelming practical and economic superiority of mitigation. My second speaker will further this by analyzing the state social context and the deep inequality inherent in forced relocation. Let's move to my first argument. The human cost of opposition's policy dots on a map that can be dragged and dropped elsewhere. But from a sociological standpoint, a community is a highly complex, interconnected system. It operates on a functionalist reality where every individual relies on the other. Take, for example, the microeconomy of a flood-prone area. Think of local neighborhood stall, a small business built entirely on the trust and proximity of its immediate neighbors. When a disaster like a flood hits, it is undeniably tragic. But if as the state steps with mitigation, clearing drainage, building barriers, and providing recovery loans, that small business rebuilds. The local economy restarts. In the opposition's world, a mass of relocation, you do not just move that small business. You permanently destroy its customer base, its supply chain, and its livelihood. When the coastal fishermen are located 50 kilometers inland, they are stripped of their sole economic skill. Furthermore, look at the demographic data. When populations are forcibly displaced, you fracture working age demographics. The young and capable scatter to find new work, while the elderly are left behind in the host camps. This skyrockets demographic dependency ratio in these new artificial settlements, creating massive economic burdens. By prioritizing relocation, the opposition doesn't save people from disaster. They plunge them into generational poverty and strip away their cultural identity. The state has no right to mandate poverty in the name of safety. Moving on to my second argument, the sheer practicality of our stance, the opposition will likely stand up here and tell you mitigation is too expensive. We can't afford to fight nature. Let us deal with the cold, hard reality. Relocation is infinitely more expensive. Moving tens of thousands of people requires the state to purchase massive tracts of safe land. It requires building entirely new cities from scratch, new hospital, new schools, new power grids, and new water systems. Furthermore, his host communities rarely welcome a sudden influx of thousands of displaced people, which inevitably leads to resource scarcity and intense social conflict. Conversely, mitigation is a proven cost-effective science. Look at Japan, a nation seeing most volatile seismic fault lines in the world. They do not abandon Tokyo. They mandate shock-absorbent architecture and sophisticated early warning networks. Look at the Netherlands, where over a quarter of the country is below sea level. They didn't pack up and leave. They built the Delta Works. Mitigation is an investment with compound interest. When the state builds a levee of seawall, it is not only to protect the existing infrastructure, it signals the investors that the area is secure, driving local economic growth. The state already owns the land. The infrastructure is woven, reinforcing it is always far cheaper and far more humane than abandoning it. Before I conclude, let's preempt the opposition's best case. They will say that staying in disaster-prone areas put lives at absolute risk, but risk is not a static concept. Risk is managed. The failure of past mitigation, it is not a reason to abandon the strategy. It is a reason to fund it properly. Relocation treats the symptom by running away from it. Mitigation treats the disease by empowering the community to withstand it. We stand for human dignity, we stand for economic stability, we stand for the right of a community to look at the rising tide not with fear, but with the confidence that their state has fortified their shores. For this response, I've never been prouder to propose. That's all from me. Thank you, panel.